Can you guys hear me now? I always forget to push that button. It never fails. I always forget to hear. Okay. All right. So, good. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully there's not an echo. There's probably an echo. Forgive me if there's an echo. TikTok doesn't have an echo. All right. 5x5. Okay, great. Thank you, Aaron, for that 5x5. Thank you, Salt Miss, for the 5x5. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. I want to welcome all of you guys for joining the channel. All of you on Facebook. I think my cousins Robert and Lisa are watching. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. And we got TikTok over here. TikTok's been running since 5 minutes till. So they're already been in here. So good. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm excited because as of today, let me pull this number up here real quick. You know, last Monday we were at 500 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm excited because I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, and it's been a slow go, right? And so we've been patient, we've been trusting the Lord, and as of today, we have added. Since this whole week, we have added 20 more people to the channel, subscribers on YouTube, and so we're at 500. We're sitting right at 520 subscribers on YouTube, and we're growing. So praise the Lord for that. All praise goes to God for that, and for you guys who somehow like this crazy guy. So that's a good thing, I guess. I'm always open for people to say, hey, Fernando, have you thought about this? I'm not afraid to share my email account with you. It's godspreparedwarrior@gmail.com. Send me an encouraging word. Send me, hey, Fernando, you're doing a great job. I'll even read those comments that aren't really good comments. And, I've had a few haters. And, I just look at it and I smile and I pray for them that God would just kind of, change their attitude. So it doesn't bother me. God protects me from all of that stuff. So awesome. Guys, thank you for joining us. I really want to get going on this today because we have lots to talk about before we get into our main topic for tonight. Because, we're a prepping channel. But we're not just any ordinary prepping channel. We do talk about prepping. We do talk about those physical things. But we also talk about the spiritual side of prepping and how important that is, because it's God who provides for us, and it's God who sustains us, it's God who takes care of us, all of those things. And so it's not just all about, beans, rice, and bullets. Because those things aren't really going to save you. I mean, they'll sustain you for a little bit, but ultimately, in the end, it's God's gift of salvation through His Son Jesus Christ that's going to save us. So that's what this channel is all about, because we come to know that preparedness also needs the spiritual side. The physical side of preparedness needs the spiritual side to work together. Because why? Because God is the one who guides us, right? When we look at His Word, that's what we find. So that's what this channel is. Guys, thank you for joining me over here on TikTok. You guys on YouTube and Facebook, thank you for joining me. So let's get started. So today is January 6th, right? And Trump's win was made official today as our next president of the United States of America. And it was Vice President Harris presiding over the election certification today, and she announced Trump as the winner. It's been it's been like an upside down thing, this whole election, right? It was one of those kind of nail biters, for whichever side you were on. And so, it was, I was praying that we would have a good day today and that it would be okay, there would be no craziness, because Lord knows that we've had enough craziness since January 1st, right? We're 6 days in, and already it's been a really hard a year, start of the year. And so, one of the things we have to do is, as I always say, we always got to pray, right? I'm always going to pray, and I'm always going to keep praying for our political leaders, because they need that. They need that prayer. I'm going to pray for, all these people that were hurt and all of this stuff that's happened, praying for the families of the victims, praying for those families who lost family members. I mean, it's been tough, guys. It's been really tough. And this is why it is so important to talk about, yes, the physical side of prepping, but we also need to talk of the spiritual side, because we need that side, especially through crazy times that we've been going through here lately. So guys, let's keep praying for all of those people that were affected in all of the stuff that's been happening since day one. So, let's keep that in prayer. Let's thank God that this election certification went really well today. I was watching Vice President Harris as she was residing over all of that. And, we all look into it, right? We all look into the faces of the people that are around there and all of that. And you know what I saw today? I saw joy, right? We're two different sides, but today I saw joy, because when they announced that Trump was, that he won, Trump's side, or the Republican side, stood up and they started clapping. And even in that moment, I'm like, oh man, what is the other side thinking? And then when she, shared her count, for her electoral vote, and, her side stood up. And so for a brief moment, right, the two places were kind of, joyful, right? And that I was praying for that, I know many of you guys were praying for that too, that all of that would just kind of, transition with peace. So, that is now, so now we're marching towards January 20. And do we take it lightly? No, we just need to keep praying that God continues to give peace even through that transition there. So, we just need God to just really kind of encapsulate that day, if He allows us to make it to that day, right? That He would just encapsulate that day to where He is protecting everybody that's there at that whole ceremony. So let's keep praying for our leaders, because they need our prayer. And let's keep praying for each other. That's important. We need to continue to pray for each other. So that was some good news today. I think we needed some good news in all of that was happening. So God is answering prayers. So praise the Lord for that win today. In the news, Justin Trudeau, he's the Prime Minister of Canada. He resigned today. He's been Canada's governing party for nearly a decade already. And I really wasn't up to date with how many of these other leaders and like what their terms are and things like that, because I was just like, well, I live here in America, that's all I need to know, right? But it's fascinating to me to see that these guys have been in there in power for a long time. And, even when he was talking today, it sounded like he was tired, I really don't know the story behind his resignation. But to me, I was watching him, and it sounded like he was just tired. So he announced that he is resigning, and he will be there just until they hire or they voted in a new Liberal Party leader, and once he comes in, he'll exit. So let's keep Canada in prayer, right? They need our prayers, and let's keep them. Those poor guys over there. The government took away all their guns, and man, they just are without weapons. I just pray for them folks over there. In the news, in our world news, I found this today, and I thought, man, this is just crazy nuts. But a woman was arrested. Check this out. A woman was arrested after arsenic-laced Christmas cake kills 3 family members in Brazil. You're probably like, what? What the heck? Yeah. So, it's crazy. We live in this crazy, volatile world, and you're always going to hear it from me that we have to stay vigilant, we have to stay prepared, because there is just danger just around the corner. And so, we've been talking about, with some friends of mine, we've been talking about, situational awareness ever since my situational awareness video. We've been talking about how people just don't pay attention anymore. How they're on their phone, and they're walking to the store, and they're on their phone, and they're not really paying attention. And so it's dangerous for anyone to not be paying attention, and they're walking around in our world today. And so we established this last live is that we don't live in the world that we used to 20, 30 years ago. Our world is even more dangerous now than it ever was. And, we can look back at the Bible, at God's Word, and we can see that, even God has told us in His Word that there's going to be wars and rumors of wars, right? He's telling His disciples, He's saying, because they asked Him, when you come in, well, here are the signs, and you'll see. There will be wars and rumors of wars. That's what we're seeing today. There will be all these weather events. That's what we're seeing today, right? And so, it's important for us to take God's Word and to put it into our heart and into our mind, because we need to be vigilant to what is happening, not just in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm. And so, it's that kind of crazy. And so, this lady, it says here, Brazilian police have arrested a woman facing charges of triple homicide after several members of her family were poisoned by an arsenic-laced Christmas cake, police said on Monday, which was today. 3 women died, and 3 other relatives fell ill to eating the cake during the family get-together on December 23rd in Torres, a small seaside town in southern Brazil. This lady was arrested. They found high levels of arsenic in the cake. I don't know if it was one of the ingredients or not, but man, that's just crazy. So that just goes to show that we have to really stay vigilant to the things that are happening right in our world, because we just never know. I mean, can you imagine those people in Louisiana? They were celebrating New Year's. They didn't think that they were going to get ran over. I mean, it's just so important, guys, that we be vigilant to those things. that are happening in our world. So yeah, that happened. And then the next thing I have for you is that, where'd it go? We're talking about weather now. So the Arctic vortex has reached its way all the way down to Texas, where I am at. And today, or this morning, it was really cold. And I think our high today was like 49. And tonight it's going to drop down to 28 degrees. And, that's cold. You northern guys are like, oh, that's not cold, that's nothing. And so, but yeah, so it's gonna drop down really low for us here. And then on Thursday night, we're supposed to have precipitation here, and it's not supposed to snow, but there's supposed to be some kind of wintry mix here. And I'm just going to be honest about my state. Texans don't know how to drive on ice. They don't know how to drive on snow. So I'm hoping that we get to avoid the streets those days. So, the whole United States is under this winter vortex, and there are a lot of places. It's been reported in Kansas City that their schools are closing actually tomorrow, right? Missouri schools are going to be closing too, so I was seeing information on that. So guys, if you go to your local news, I will tell you, go to your local news to find out school closures and things like that, because they report that well, right? They may not report all the news, right? But they will report that kind of news as well. So, if you guys got kids, check out your local news. You're going to be able to know if they're going to have schools or not tomorrow, just depending on where you are, right? Here in Texas, I'm pretty sure that's going to be all a go tomorrow, and it just might be questionable on Thursday and Friday. So it's going to be below freezing temperatures here in the state of Texas, and in the panhandle of Texas, and all the way down to Dallas, it is supposed to snow. So, back, before all of this, we never used to get any snow. Maybe ice just on the bridges and overpasses because, the wind and all that kind of stuff. This is all different in you now since Snowvid, right? Because that's what we call it down here, Snowvid, when Texas was shut down for a couple of days because of the snow that fell. And that was pretty neat because we never get that or see that unless you live in North Texas. But yeah, so I always say, man, I wish I lived in Montana, or I wish I lived in Wisconsin, right? It snows a lot there all the time. And everybody that I've met coming to Texas says, no, you don't want that. And they'll tell me, yeah, you got to shovel the snow and you got to do all. And you know what? I would rather do that than be in the dang heat, because it is always hot here in Texas. And man, if you ever get to come spend the summer in Texas, you'll definitely know what a Texas summer is all about, because it gets really, really, really hot. And so yeah. So, all right. So on that note, I really want to talk tonight about winter preps. I think this is important because not, and I'm talking about, us guys here in Texas. You guys in the north, y'all are masters at winter preparedness. It is like I said last live. I'm maybe last year day old, knowing that you guys in the northern states have to sometimes put a heater on your car motor. And so, I never knew that until I started following this guy who goes camping in his truck, and he had to put a heater on his motor. I never knew that existed. So they do exist. All right, so this is mainly for, I'm going to say, our millennials and people in Texas who really don't ever experience the winter. And maybe they're going to be experiencing it. These are some things you need to know, right? And, these are things that have been handed down by experience. And so it's just some things we got to know. So how do you prepare your home for the winter, right? So in the wintertime, of course, you need to have warm clothing. Even that's funny because I wear shorts. I don't like to be hot and sweaty. So, I wear shorts all the time. And up to the other night, my wife's like, we're going out to eat. She's like, babe, it's cold outside. And I go, yeah, I know. I'm going to put a jacket on. Jacket and shorts. Yeah, that's me. That's Fernando. But today I went dressed in layers today because it was really cold, and the next couple of days is going to be even colder. So be aware of that. So wear warm clothing. Make sure you have extra blankets. I know most of us have maybe a closet, or we have like a wooden chest, and they're full of blankets and things like that. Make sure those are ready to go because it's cold. My wife came in here a while ago and she's like, "Babe, it's cold in here." I'm like, "Turn the heater on." So get your blankets, wrap up in blankets. Make sure you have flashlights. Make sure you have batteries for your flashlights if they're battery charged flashlights. Make sure your rechargeable flashlights are charged. Right? It's important to have those things. I'll tell you why in a minute. Make sure you have some matches. Make sure you have some candles. If you live in the northern states where there's a lot of snow, make sure you have a shovel or a snowblower, right? Make sure you have a portable radio. You're going to need that. Make sure you have extra medication. Remember, I'm going to tell you why in a minute. You have extra medication if you take medication. If you have babies, make sure you have extra formula if they're drinking formula. These are things that we should have done prior to this winter storm, coming and hitting us. So, you need a first aid kit. You need to make sure you have your cell phone charged at all times. Make sure you have your cell phone charger with you. If you have a fireplace like we do, make sure you have firewood, right? You should be doing all of this prior to today, right? For us in Texas, it's cold now. We should have done it way before today. We knew that this polar vortex was coming. They've been talking about it. There was a time prior to today that it was cold for the morning, and then it got hot in the afternoon. I always say those are our indicators for us to start preparing for the winter months, right? So I tell you need all of these things for your home because in the event, like we're going to have a wintry mix, you can have ice build up on your power lines. You can have ice build up on trees. And if you have ice build up on trees, tree limbs and trees will fall. And if they take out, the power lines, then now you don't have electricity. And it's cold, right? A lot of people don't think about this. They think, I'm going to flip the light switch and it's always going to be on. No, it doesn't. It's not always like that. And it's up to us to be able to prepare for that kind of situation. Will it happen? Maybe not. Will it happen? Maybe, right? So I'm not telling you don't do it. I'm telling you do it so that way, in case it doesn't happen, at least you were ready, right? Why do you need these things? Well, you're going to need matches to light your candles, right? You're going to need that. You're going to need a portable radio because if the lights go out, where are you going to get your information from, right? There's a lot of I'll throw some links out this week. I haven't been doing it, but I can throw out some links for winter preps of items that you can have. And I'm not a snob when it comes to items that you buy, because I think that in a pinch like now, you need these things and you don't really need to break your bank just so that you can have the latest and greatest thing when you can buy something a whole lot cheaper that does the same thing, right? So I'll throw out some links because I always look for very inexpensive things and I find them. So I'll throw out those links for you guys on that kind of stuff. So you're going to need extra blankets because if the lights go out, your heater's not going to work, right? I mean, unless you have a gas heater, but if you have an electric system, it's not going to work. And so, there's a lot of houses here in Texas, mostly in the rural areas. They have big, huge propane tanks, and their gas is through the propane. So, when we are getting closer to winter, you should fill up those propane tanks to the max and have all of that ready for the winter time. You need those flashlights just in case the lights go out, right? And you don't have candles, you have flashlights, you get to do that, right? First aid kit, just in case, somebody gets hurt during that power outage, you have that available. You should always have a first aid kit wherever you go. And then your cell phone needs to be fully charged. Why? Because if the lights go out, that's the charge you got, unless you have the solar chargers and things like that, and those should also be fully charged as well. So that's so important for us to be doing, because we need to get our houses ready for that. That's inside, right? And so how do we prepare our home? Well, on the outside, there are two kinds of houses. You got the cement foundation house, right, which is like my house, the cement foundation. And then you have other houses that are, I think they're called pair and beam houses, where they sit on stilts, right? And the house has like a cover, and you can go underneath the house, and you see all the piping under there, and you see all the insulation under there. And so there are those types of houses, right? Those types of houses, you need to go under there and wrap your pipes, right? On a cement foundation, it's all in the cement, so you can't do that. But on a cement foundation house, you need to go outside the house, and you need to cover your faucets, because that's a pipe, and that pipe can break if it's full of water, right? You need to go outside, and you need to cover those, because those can freeze and those can break. And you don't want that, because that's just an expense you're going to have to do, and plumbers are expensive because they do a lot of hard work, trust me. So make sure you do that inside your house. I was sharing with my kids this week this important thing, and they didn't know it. They knew that they had to run their faucets, run their bathtub faucet, all that. But they didn't know that they needed to open the cabinet underneath the sink. Why do we do that? Because the heater that just turned on here in my house is heating the inside of my home, right? And when we open that cabinet where underneath the sink is and all the pipes are there, the warm air keeps those pipes warm, and so they will not freeze. Don't take it for 100%, but they won't freeze because it's warm inside the house. So So make sure you're doing that. People didn't know that you could do that, and it would help keep your pipes warm on the inside of the house. So make sure you're doing that. Don't use your stove to heat your home. That's very dangerous, and especially if you have a gas stove, because of carbon monoxide and things like that. Make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector, a fire detector, all of those. Make sure the batteries are working in them. They're not beeping, because they're not going to work. And they're not going to warn you when there's carbon monoxide or there's smoke in the house or fire, whatever. Just make sure all of those things are prepped. You make sure you have those things prepped. That's part of prepping. It's not all about beans, rice, and bullets, right? It's all of these other little things that you have to be doing, right? And it's so important for doing that. So I would encourage all of you guys to take in consideration the 4 Ps. You'll probably hear this a lot from your local weather. But you need to check on people. You need to check your pets. You need to check your pipes, and you need to check your plants, right? So it's going to be freezing here in Texas. All your plants need to come in that won't survive the freeze, because they won't. We learned that in 2021 when we had snowvid. Killed a lot of things. The freeze did. So make sure you're bringing your pets in. Make sure you're bringing your plants in, because it is going to get below freezing, and so you don't want to be out there. Why would you want your pets and your plants out there? So, and then check. Most importantly, check on family members. That's the other P in the 4 Ps is people. Check on family members, and I'm going to encourage you to check on your neighbors, right? Especially if you've been living in your neighborhood for the longest time and you know all your neighbors, and one of your neighbors is maybe an elderly person. It's important to check in on them and make sure that they're okay. Maybe it's you and your husband, you and your wife going over to their house and doing a free inspection. You've been doing this all your life. Maybe they don't have nobody. And so it would be nice, because it would create fellowship. It would allow you to communicate with your neighbor, and it builds bridges and not tears bridges down, right? So check on your neighbors. Volunteer yourself to say, hey, if you want, I can come check make sure your heater's working. I can make sure you have good batteries in your smoke detector and in your carbon monoxide detector, all that. You can lend a helping hand in doing that with your neighbors. And so, that builds community, and because whenever poop hits the fan, that's what it's going to be. We're not designed to be by ourselves. I know there's a lot of people out there, Fernando, I'm going to be a lone wolf, and, I'm going to escape to the mountains, and I'm great. Go for it. Fernando likes community, So, Fernando's going to build community, so he's not alone. And that's what we're doing, if you didn't already know. So it's important to make sure you have these extra things in your house. What else? So you need to have food, right? I've been talking about this for the longest time, about, you taking your pantry. And, we all have a pantry in our home, right? But we don't all have a store in our home. What do I mean by that? Well, you have your pantry where you grab your stuff and you make your breakfast, you make your dinner, you make, lunch, whatever, right? Yeah, we all have a pantry. It has, some stuff in there. I say build a store, a separate room, maybe in the garage, or maybe in that halfway point between the garage and in your house. Build a store. What is a store? A store is a place where you have other items stored that you haven't rotated to your pantry yet, right? So let's say you have all these canned goods on one rack, right? You have your corn, you have your green beans, you have all these tomato sauce, all that stuff, right? Soup in a can, tuna, whatever, right? You have all these cans. In your store, you also have those cans so that when you use from your pantry, you're able to take from your store and stock your pantry, right? And so that means that when you go to the store, you're not going to the store to stock your pantry, you're going to the store to stock your store, right? So when you go to the grocery store, you're actually taking inventory on your store in the house, and you're building that store, and your pantry is always full, right? It goes back to that thing that we always say, that two is one and one is none, right? So you always want to have a built up food pantry and store. That's what I've called it. So what do you need in there? Well, for long-term stuff, you need canned goods, right? Just for an example, right? Yesterday, because I always prep my meals for work the day prior, right? So yesterday was Sunday, yeah. So Sunday, usually, our days we go to church and we spend time with family. So yesterday I was tired because on Saturday, my wife and I and our best friend have a business together. We sell coffee. I'm a barista. Been a barista for a long time, and we have a coffee business, a coffee trailer that we run on Saturdays. And so yesterday I was super tired from that, and so I didn't want to make a meal last night for my lunch today at work. And I went to the pantry and I just stood in there for a while, and I'm like, what am I going to make that's easy? And, I didn't want ramen because I have that, but, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to eat healthy. And so I'm like, man, what can I eat? And so I'm looking, and then I see, my wife bought me some canned chicken from Costco. And, I'm looking at that and I'm like, I can take that canned chicken and I can make some chicken tacos. And then it just starts playing in my head. Yeah. And so last night, I'm not lying, because it's canned, it's already cooked, right? I took this canned chicken, I added onions to it and all the spices to make it like shredded taco meat, chicken taco meat. And that's what I took to work, and that's what I had. And it only took me like maybe 5-10 minutes to put it together. And so, my preps, right, saved me in that instance. I didn't have to, bust out, frozen food and, thaw it out, cook it, and, all that. And so this is why it's good to have extra, right? Because there's going to be times that, you don't want to cook, and there's easier way to do it, right? So that's what I did yesterday. So make sure you have, your canned goods, canned fruits, canned vegetables. It's good to have things like crackers, nuts, fruit bars, chips, things like that, because in the event the lights go out and you're not able to use the electricity, because I have an electric stove, and you can't use your stove, at least you have these other items that are already pre-cooked, and you can eat them, just like that, right? Or if you're like Fernando and you have several other ways outside of electricity to use stoves, then you have that, right? So here in Texas, we're all about Texas barbecue. And, if you're a natural born Texan, you know how to make barbecue. There's some people that don't. I'm just playing. But, I stock wood out in my backyard, and I have plenty of wood, in case we need to build a fire, in case we need to put in the fireplace, and in case I need to cook, right? Because I have a big barbecue pit outside, and, I can cook out there. Or I can break into my camping equipment, and I can use my camp stove that use can fuel, right? So, you got to have options. You got to build your preps to where you have options, right? So that's, some ways that you can do that, and because you have those other things, you can make other things like soups and things like that, because you have the other preps. You can even use your fireplace to cook, right? That's how they used to do it back in the day. So you have those opportunities. So make sure you have food. Make sure you have plenty of water, because you're gonna need water. The water might not go out during a weather event, but your pipes might freeze, and bust a pipe. You're gonna have to turn your water off, right? So you need to have extra water, right? You need to have extra water. You also got to think that if you don't have water, you also need extra water for hygiene, right? You're gonna need water for the commode. You're gonna need water to take a bath. Or you can't shower, but you're gonna need to clean yourself, right? So just make sure that you make sure you have those preparations with that, because people don't think about that. They think, oh, I need water for drinking, but they don't think that they need water for all these other things. So make sure that you're thinking about your preps, and you're thinking not just in the interim, but you're thinking long term, right? What I'm gonna need to shower. I'm gonna need to wash my hair. If it's gonna be icky, right? You don't want to be icky, so make sure you have those preps handy. That's important. So that's your home, right? So I wanna kind of take a shift. Let me look at conversations here. Okay, you guys are talking. Good. Y'all keep talking. I can jam. Man, it's all missed. One day I'm gonna go visit you and try your jams. I love jams. So I want to shift a little bit. We're still talking about winter preparedness, and a lot of times people don't think about this, but it's very important to winterize your vehicle in two ways, right? I'm going to tell you. So you need to winterize your vehicle in two ways. You got to check your engine levels, right? That's important. We're talking all about under the hood right now. You got to check your engine levels during a winter event, because if you don't have coolant and you just have water in your radiator, guess what's going to happen? Your radiator is going to bust, because your water is going to freeze in there, and it's going to expand, and you're going to have car trouble. So make sure that you are adding coolant to your water in your radiator for your vehicle, because it needs to have that so that it doesn't freeze. You need to make sure that you have plenty of oil in your car, because car parts will freeze, right? Just as we know from our northern brothers and sisters who have to put a heater on their engine so their engine doesn't freeze, right? So make sure you have that. Make sure you all your fluids are topped off in your vehicle. It's just so important, right? It's important that you test your battery, right? Because when you live in Texas, the summer heat really does a toll on your battery. And so if you're not keeping up with your battery, winter can come, and it can be a hard winter, and it'll kill your battery, and you won't have enough amperage to turn over that starter. And so you need to make sure that prior to winter, you're checking your battery, you're taking it down to Napa or whatever, and you're getting them to do a test on your battery. They'll be able to tell you about that. So make sure that you have some kind of de-icing washer fluid for your windshield. This morning, right, we didn't have any precipitation or anything, so I didn't have to chisel no ice off my windshield. I was good. All I had to do was turn my car on, let it warm up inside so I didn't freeze, and I was going to be off. But because Fernando loves to have a very clean windshield, and it was kind of dusty and wasn't going to be a problem, Fernando decided to pull the washer fluid, and sprayed the whole window, and guess what happened? I didn't have my de-icing stuff inside there, and it froze all over my windshield. And so I had to sit there a little longer just until my heater kicked in so that it could melt all that off. So make sure you have some kind of de-icing washer fluid. They do sell that, and you put that into your washer fluid. Do an inspection on your tires. That's important. You don't want slick tires on ice. You don't want slick tires on water either. So make sure your tire treads are good, and make sure you replace them prior to winter, because that can be very dangerous, right? It says install snow tires. We don't have to worry about that here in Texas, but most of you guys in northern states know about that. You also know about putting chains on your tires. I've never experienced that, so I don't even know what that's like. So, but you guys know. Also, test your headlights and your tail lights. A lot of times the cold can knock those things out too. So just make sure that you have your car prepped. What else? Here's a checklist for what you need to have inside your car. What do you mean, Fernando? Well, guess what? Just like in your home, you have to have certain things. If you're outside your home and a winter event happens, and now you got to get home, you need certain things in your car. In the event that your car is stranded or it breaks down, or you're stranded because there was a pileup on the highway, you need things in your vehicle, right? And so I'm going to give you this list. And if you've never thought about this, it's so important, because when I turn on the news and I'm watching the local news and they switch to other state news, and I'm watching all these car pileups in all these states that there's tons of snow, I can't even imagine what that's like, and how you got to wait for all that to get cleared off before you can leave. And so you need to have some things in your car, just like you need to have things in your home. You need a flashlight, right? I mean, let's say your car breaks down in the middle of a snowstorm, you need a flashlight. You do. You need a first aid kit in your car. Wherever you go, you need a first aid kit. I even have a first aid kit on my backpack that I take to work, my get home bag. I have it's a small first aid kit that I made out of several Altoid tins, and so I have a first aid kit. I have a med kit for meds, right? Like allergy medication, Advil, stuff like that. In the event that I need that medication, I have it, right? Always keep that stuff with you. Make sure you have an ice scraper in your car. I mean, that's a given. You need to have that in your car because it's gonna ice over, right? If there's precipitation. Have a blanket in your car. Why, Fernando? Well, in case you get stranded. In case your car doesn't start. And you gotta wait for somebody. And it's super cold outside. Grab that blanket, wrap yourself up in it, stay warm, right? It's important. Have a couple of blankets in there, and then I would say, depending on the size of your family, have that many blankets in there, right? I would even say have a cache of non-perishable food in your vehicle, right? Those crackers, nuts, fruit bars, things like that. They're going to be fine in the wintertime, right? It's the summertime. You probably don't want to have that stuff in there because they'll go bad because of the heat, at least here in Texas. But you want to have those non-perishable food items in your car in the event you're stranded and you're starving, right? You need protein. You need to stay warm. And when you eat, your core warms up because now it's having to digest that food. You should have bottled water in your car, right? I have a place in my trunk in my car that I keep all that stuff, right? Separate from all of the fluids for the vehicle. You don't want them together. You need booster cables, right? I can't count it on my hands the many times that somebody has come up to me and they said, "Sir, can you help jump my vehicle?" Because they didn't have jumper cables, right? And I'll ask them, "Do you have jumper cables?" No. I was like, "Okay, I got some jumper cables." So they're not that expensive. You can get them really fairly inexpensive on Amazon. So you need a pair of jumper cables in your vehicle. I would even go as far as to say, you need extra clothing. Why? Well, what if it's raining, right? And you get wet. Your clothes get all wet. You're going to be cold. You're going to need to change your clothes. Keep extra clothing in there. Make sure you have beanies in your car. Maybe you have an extra pair of gloves. I have an extra pair of gloves in the car because why? I'm forgetful and I'm going to forget. So at least I have this extra pair of gloves in the car, right? Make sure you have your cell phone with you. Make sure your cell phone is charged. And you should, thank you for joining the team. You should also keep in there some kind of charger. Not the ones that, yes, keep the ones that connect to your cigarette lighter. Those are great. But if your car breaks down and it's not working, your battery dies, you're going to need some alternative. So, I always carry in my bag, I carry those rechargeable batteries. So, and they're solar powered. I have two of them or three of them that are solar powered. I have one that, I have to charge. So I have a variety, right? So make sure you have those, you carry those with you all the time. Make sure you get into the practice that you're charging those items and that they're fully charged and they're ready for an emergency, right? Make sure you have some kind of flares in your car or triangles or maybe some cones. They have the really small cones that you can put out in case you're stranded on the side of the road and you're able to notify other vehicles that are coming that your car is there and it's stranded, right? So make sure you have all of those things in your vehicle. And it's so important because, today we are in this vortex, right? This Arctic vortex that's come down and it's, cold everywhere, right? So it's always good to have those things handy, not just at your house, because you do need them there too, but even in your vehicle in the event that you get stranded, there's a pile up and now you're stuck on the road and you can't go anywhere, right? You have these items in your vehicle. That is very easy to do, right? Aside from the mechanic stuff, right? If you're not mechanically inclined, ask a family member for help. Ask a neighbor for help, right? To help make sure that all your fluids, or just take it to the Jiffy Lube, and they'll hook you up, right? So, but have all of these other things that are easy to get in your vehicle because you're going to need them in the event of an emergency, right? And so, so do that. Make sure you have those things in your vehicle. I'm going to put this list on all my social media tomorrow. So make sure you come back to my social media and check it out. Guys, if you're watching me on YouTube, all of my social media links are there. That way you can follow me on all my social media links and you can get all that stuff. So I'll be posting that out tomorrow. The devotional went out today. If you have signed up for the devotional and the blog, those of you who go to my website and you sign up that you want the devotional and you want the blog in your inbox, the devotional went out this morning. It's a great devotional. Tomorrow the blog goes out, and those who have signed up for that. So if you haven't signed up, go to my website and check out my website. Go to the contact page, and in the contact page, you'll see there to sign up for the newsletter. Sign up. All you're doing is you're just giving me your name. You don't have to give me your full name. Most people don't give me their full name, and that's okay. And they give me their email address so that I can send that to them. So I'm not going to send you any spam. That's all I ever send out. Sometimes I'll send out an important thing and it'll go out. But the newsletter goes. I'm sorry. The devotional goes out on Monday because I really want you to start your week off on the right foot. And so the devotional goes out on Monday. The blog goes out on Tuesday, and then everybody else on social media gets the devotional and the blog on Thursday and Friday. It'll go out. So, if you don't want to wait that long, go to my website, sign up for that, and get that information in your inbox. I mean, I write that stuff for you guys. It's to encourage you, and it's to help put you in that preparedness mode to where we're prepping for things. So make sure you definitely go do that. If you are new, thank you for joining me today. If you're on TikTok here, you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, and you're new, make sure you go to my YouTube page and subscribe to it because we're trying to build a community, not just here where I live, but all over the United States of God's prepared warriors. And I'm looking for leaders in states who want to meet with me on a monthly basis, and you be the leader for your state, that kind of a thing. We want to build community, and we want to build this thing. So I've been talking to our team on this side of what we want to do. We have some big dreams, and so we can't do it without you guys. And so like, share, subscribe to the YouTube page. That's our main page, and Facebook is our main page. I'm trying to grow over here on TikTok also. So make sure you like and share, subscribe to our social media, because we want to get you guys all informed of everything. So here soon, hopefully, my website will become a .com, and I'm going to have tons more information for you guys to be able to glean from there for free and stuff. So we have a lot of stuff planned, and I want you guys to join the community. So in the YouTube link for today, if you look down in there in the description, I actually have the link for the Facebook community page, the God's Prepared Warrior community page. It's in the link, in the YouTube link. So guys, make sure you go there and make sure you sign up. I'm sorry, I'm having to unlock TikTok. Make sure you go to the community page, sign up to the community page. Tell me where you are. I wanna start building a map of where our reach is. I see our reach from people who go to the website and are participating on the website. I mean, we actually are around the world, and it's super neat because today I was watching as Sweden was actually checking out the website, and so it brings joy to my heart that other people are viewing us, and it's even more exciting when I'm looking at all these places I'll probably never get to go to, but somebody checked out our website. It brings joy to my heart. So so soon, hopefully soon, that'll be a .com, and we'll have so much more information for you guys. That's why I need y'all's help. If you would like to write and be part of the team, I'm looking for people who would like to write and be part of the team. And so just shoot me an email. Hey Fernando, I want to join the team. How can I help? At God's Prepared Warrior at gmail.com. That's all it is. Real simple. God's Prepared Warrior at gmail.com. Send me an email, and it's 10 o'clock. Guys, thank you for joining me tonight. I'm so excited that you guys hung out with me, and I look forward to seeing you guys this week. Salt Mist, thank you for joining tonight. Aaron, thank you for joining tonight. And thank you guys for joining me on Facebook and on TikTok. I'm so excited that you guys were here, and I love to have fun with you guys here. So don't forget, next Monday we'll be live again, and don't forget about that. And then check out YouTube during the week, because I'll be posting out some stuff there. All right, guys, have a great night. Thank you for joining us. I'm Fernando, God's Prepared Warrior, and look forward to seeing you